Marcus, welcome to the show. Great to have your company.
Thanks for having me, Craig. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's talk about the single first of all. Congratulations on the new record. It is absolutely brilliant. Turn Me Loose, an absolute classic, and you've reinterpreted it absolutely brilliantly. Give us a bit of backstory on how Soul Deaf came to be, because you've really got a unique sound, but it's relevant and yet retro at the same time. How did it all come together?
Well, Soul Deaf was I suppose, a new alias, production alias, that I actually started some years ago by accident. I tend to make a lot of house music for a lot of different acts, including myself under the Marcus Knight brand, and I started coming up with some down-tempo funk-inspired material, which got picked up by a few TV shows and a couple of films, sort of 6-7 years ago. I sort of put it to the side, and obviously with lockdown and the pandemic, and like most creatives, we've had a lot of extra time on our hands, and I've made so much music in so many different genres, and a lot of it is very disco, funk, and soul inspired, which is much of what I've sort of grew up on. So, and I'm just sort of trying to keep it as fresh as I can, but at the same time pay homage to a lot of the great acts and great songs that I grew up on.
So what prompted you to take a Loverboy song? I mean, people that are certainly of the 80s generation that would know this song. I mean, it's, they're a Canadian rock band. They were huge with this song and a number of others. And it's not the first time that this song's been covered. But what made you approach this particular song in that way, to change it from such a typical 80s rock sound and then convert it completely to make it something new and interesting?
Yeah, look, it was, as a young kid, it was a track that was always floating around my house with my older siblings who would play the track, and I always loved it. Like many creatives, we have our favorite songs as kids, and, once we get an opportunity to sort of, we'll try and revisit them in the context of what you currently do. It's actually quite exciting. So for me to sort of have the time to experiment and combine what was such a great song into more of a new disco format was always a really appealing thing to do for it. And, hopefully I've done it justice.
Yeah, you definitely have. The female vocalist you have on this track, Melissa Erpen, I predict really big things for her. She's got a great voice and delivers this song so well. As I say, it gives it a whole new dimension that I never thought I'd say about this song. I'm so familiar with the original, and I heard when I first got the track, and I heard it, and I was like, this is so cool. Like you've brought it into this era so well, and she, as I say, delivers it perfectly, and the production on it's exceptional.
Melissa's dynamite. I've known Melissa for many, many years. She's from Perth, left Australia for many years, went to the UK, sang backing vocals, on a world tour, for Ellie Goulding and a few other great UK acts over the years. And, she recently, just actually prior to the pandemic starting, she returned home. And, we've always been in touch, and, she had some extra time on her hands, and I played her the track, and I said, hey, I think you'd be great on this. And she just sort of did her own thing, and she really owns it. She really shows her true colors, and just how big of a vocal she has. And she's such a professional as well.
She's absolutely exceptional on this track, and listeners, you'll get a chance to hear that very, very soon. But you mentioned the pandemic, and I've spoken to a number of artists about this in the last couple of weeks, and even before that, talking to musician friends of mine all over the country, and indeed even overseas. How hard is it? You're trying to launch new material, you're trying to get new stuff out there. You can't tour. You can't get out and promote this stuff in the traditional way. You can't do live shows. It's hard even to do any other promotion except for things like, doing live radio and, via YouTube and internet sort of things like that and live crosses. How hard has it been for you to keep everything going under these circumstances with COVID and all the lockdowns across so many states and the lack of avenues now for live music at the moment?
Look, it's been, every day has been different mentally and emotionally, and we've all got different pressures that we cope with, So, for me, I mean, I've got 2 kids. They're quite young, so homeschooling has definitely been a theme in the household. But at the end of the day, music has been so therapeutic for me. I think if I didn't have it in the last 2 years, it probably would have been a lot harder for me. So I'm actually I feel quite blessed and grateful to have an outlet along those lines. And, and certainly, I suppose I slowly came to terms with the whole approach of, try and control what you can control and get an outcome on, as opposed to things that you don't have and that you don't control. So in the end, I was really productive. I did a lot more, remixes and, other production work for other record companies. So I did keep busy. Certainly we've all taken a hit, in terms of not being able to perform and tour like we normally would. But look, as I said to you, sometimes you sort of think about what can I do as opposed to what can't I actually get my hands on. And then we've become very tolerant and resilient that way as a community. And for whatever it's worth, I feel like we're at the home stretch of this now. Within the next month or two, we'll be back out there, albeit in a small way. But hey, it's progress, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, at this point, something is better than nothing. I mean, it's been that sort of circumstance. I've lost count of how many gigs this year that I've had tickets to up here in Brisbane. And you get a couple of weeks out, and then there'll be a snap lockdown, or it's because they've got to travel from interstate, and everything just gets postponed. I've had one gig at least postponed twice, and now I think they're coming up in May next year. So it's great though that you can keep busy, and I applaud artists that do this and find another way of doing things. You've obviously found a way to use your art and use your skill set in another way. It's kind of what we do here at the VFE Network as well. I mean, I was just saying to someone the other day that I was doing lockdowns and working from home before it was cool. I've been doing this a long time. So working in that environment, as you say, you find what you can do with what you've got available to you and make it work in that way.
Yeah, exactly. And look, regardless of what industry we've worked in, we've all had it hard in very different ways. There is no copy and paste to what we've all been through, because we're all affected so differently. I suppose the common theme is just not, especially me being from Melbourne, that sense of community and unity and seeing your friends and family. That's probably been the hardest hit, because we've been in lockdown for so long and a lot more frequently. So that's probably the common thread in Melbourne, that we're all really looking forward to seeing each other again and enjoying the very basic things, in addition to, getting our careers back to whatever level of normalcy we can achieve.
Well, I certainly feel for you guys in Melbourne. You guys have had it rough, particularly over the last 18 months and particularly just this year at the moment. I'm seeing the numbers coming out of Melbourne at the moment with new cases every day. And I really, really hope that things turn around very, very soon. Not just for the music industry, but indeed for Melbourne itself. It's a city I love. I love getting down there and taking holidays down there, checking out the arts, the culture, the music, and just the city in general. It's just a great place to be.
Yeah, look, it's always been it's obviously known for being quite a diverse, multicultural city, with our restaurants and events and all the rest of it. So, apart from the community needing to heal, I think emotionally and mentally from, what we've all had to go through, and I think we'll do that, in good time. Economically and I think the city has changed and will evolve a little bit. And I think a lot of those things that we were known for will come back, but just in a different way potentially. I think we just need to embrace the opportunities as they come before us. Remember the good old days, but at the same time, look, you can't change yesterday, you can change tomorrow. And I think we just need to be optimistic about it.
I think so. And I think music like yours and a lot of other stuff that's been coming out over this period will go a long way to do that. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Once again, congratulations on the single. We will be promoting this everywhere possible. It is a great song. I really want to see this actually hit the charts because I really do think it's got potential to do so. And we'll do our best at the VFE Network to help make it happen.
Thanks, Craig. Much appreciated. And, thanks to all the listeners for supporting Australian music. It's great.
Craig B's Lunchtime Live on VFE Variety.